Imagine being the most famous girl in the world and still feeling completely powerless. It was midnight in Las Vegas, 2007. Paparazzi flashes lit up the deserted casino corridor as Britney Spears stumbled alone back to her suite. The glittering pop princess had just delivered a strange, fumbling performance that left the world whispering and the tabloids gloating. Behind the sparkly stage lights, an exhausted 25-year-old felt something inside her break. Hello everyone, and welcome back to our channel. Today, we're telling a serious story. A story of dazzling success, devastating breakdown, and an incredible fight for justice. This is the story of Britney Spears. Britney Jean Spears was born on December 2, 1981 in Mississippi and raised just across the state line in Kentwood, Louisiana. By age 2, she was already singing and dancing in local talent shows, performing gospel in her church choir. The small-town girl dreamed of more. At 8 years old, she auditioned for Disney's The All-New Mickey Mouse Club. The producers declared her too young, but told Britney to get an agent in New York City. That advice changed everything. By age 9, Britney and her mother moved to New York for performing arts training. She landed small TV roles and even appeared in an off-Broadway musical. 2 years later, at 11, she finally became a Mouseketeer alongside future stars like Justin Timberlake and Christina Aguilera. The camera loved her bubblegum charm and fans adored her bright smile. As an adolescent, Britney grew hungry for the spotlight. By 15, she had recorded a demo that landed her a contract with Jive Records. The timing was perfect. In 1999, the world was ready for a new It girl. Britney's debut single, Baby One More Time, exploded onto the charts, and her debut album, Baby One More Time, shot to #1. The album sold over 10 million copies in the United States alone, and the title track became an anthem for a generation. Suddenly, this sweet Louisiana teenager was the princess of pop, loved by millions and earning over $1 million by age 17. She followed up immediately. 2000's Oops, I Did It Again shattered records with 1.3 million first-week sales. Every corner of teen culture was Britney-fied. Her gymnastics-inspired tours, her waist-length braids, even dolls and posters in every mall. Despite critics mocking her catchy bubblegum image, she continued to push herself creatively and sign lucrative deals, Pepsi commercials, movie roles. By the early 2000s, Britney was performing everywhere, from the Super Bowl halftime show to sold-out arenas worldwide. She was living the dream, saying later that, being 19, I was truly living my dream. My tours took me all over the world. On stage, Britney was electrifying. She popularized poppy dance numbers in leotards and tank tops, earning endless magazine covers. Hits like Toxic and Slave for You cemented her status as a creative pop innovator. In 2001 alone, she headlined the Super Bowl halftime show and a Pepsi ad campaign, all while still a teenager. One year, she even turned down a movie role in Chicago, saying she had power and wished she'd been more rebellious. A line showing how much confidence she already had at 19. Beyond music, Britney was inescapable pop culture. Magazine covers, talk show spots, Oprah, SNL, you name it. She performed at the 2001 MTV VMAs with an albino python around her shoulders, creating an iconic image forever etched in pop history. Even critics had to admit, by age 20, Britney had helped spark the teen pop phenomenon of the late 90s, and her career was unstoppable. No fairy tale stays perfect. By the early 2000s, Britney's personal life began to make headlines. She had dated NSYNC's Justin Timberlake since their Mouseketeer days, becoming pop's golden couple. But in 2002, it all fell apart. The media blamed Britney for the breakup, and even shown her emotionally on TV. Diane Sawyer's 2003 interview famously brought Britney to tears when asked about Justin. Behind closed doors, Britney was devastated. In her memoir, she later revealed Justin had cheated repeatedly, dumped her in a 2-word text, and then wrote hit songs casting her as the villain. When he left me, I was devastated. I could barely speak for months, Britney wrote. Scorned and vulnerable, Britney found solace elsewhere. In 2004, she met backup dancer Kevin Federline at a Hollywood club. According to Britney's own words, it wasn't about lust, but something deeper. She described Kevin as a rare person who would hold me as long as I wanted, something she hadn't felt in a long time. Amazingly, Kevin was a single dad, but Britney ignored the red flags. By summer 2004, she asked Kevin to marry her. He joked, then proposed, and the two wed that September in a quick surprise ceremony. Motherhood came quickly. In 2005 and 2006, Britney gave birth to sons Sean and Jaden. At first, she seemed to embrace being a young mum. But new responsibilities and non-stop public scrutiny took a toll. Tabloids began spinning ugly narratives. A video leaked of Sean sliding out of his high chair. Paparazzi caught Britney driving with a baby on her lap. Britney herself admitted feeling a little depressed under all the pressure. She later recognized that she had suffered from severe postpartum depression symptoms, intense anxiety, fatigue, and obsessive worry, even as cameras circled her like vultures. By 2006, the tension with Kevin had boiled over. Britney filed for divorce, citing irreconcilable differences. The media painted her as the bad guy, and tragically she lost custody of her 2 little boys in 2007. Federline was awarded sole custody, and Britney began only limited visitations. The once glamorous pop princess was now portrayed as a failing mother on front pages. In 2007, Britney's public life took an ominous turn. It started on stage. That September, after a long break, Britney was billed to come back at the MTV Video Music Awards in Las Vegas. Fans expected fireworks. Instead, she delivered a strange, blurry performance of "Gimme More." She seemed dazed, out of breath, her usual shine gone. Viewers recoiled. The pop legend looked eerily vulnerable, almost not herself. It was a fiasco that launched dozens of theories about her fitness to be a star. Then things got even worse. Just weeks later, Britney did something unthinkable. She shaved her head completely bald. Cameras caught the moment on Feb 16, 2007. Britney wrapped in a blanket, wielding clippers. To fans, it looked like a breakdown. Britney later explained it differently. She said cutting off her newly dyed brunette locks felt almost religious. A desperate act of defiance after years of being eyeballed and told what to do. The world watched in shock as she pummeled her hair, her one remaining identity, in her hotel bathroom. The frenzy didn't stop there. The very next day, Britney tried to drive back to Kevin's house to see her kids, but was rebuffed by security. Frustrated and heartbroken, She flipped out at a photographer following her every move. Britney later recalled screaming while the photog kept taunting her with terrible questions about missing her children. She grabbed the only thing near her, a pink umbrella, and leapt out of the car. Hopeless and hurt, she swung that umbrella at the photographer's SUV, managing only to dent it. "It was pathetic, really," Britney said. "A desperate move by a desperate person." These incidents triggered alarm. Police and paramedics were called. Britney was taken for psychiatric evaluation and hospitalized. Headlines worldwide screamed, "Britney cracks." By early 2008, her father and family saw enough. In February 2008, a Los Angeles court placed Britney under a legal conservatorship. The conservatorship was a legal straitjacket. Britney's father, Jamie Spears, was given near total control over her personal life and finances. Even in court, Britney described it best. "I'm Britney Spears now," Jamie allegedly told her, implying she had no autonomy. In effect, 26-year-old Britney became a ward of her 60-year-old dad. Over the next 13 years, Jamie, and later his co-conservators, dictated almost every aspect of her life. Britney had to check in weekly with her team, obtain permission for even small activities, and hand over her passport for security. Yet the outside world saw none of this. In fact, Britney was still hugely productive. Between 2008 and 2017, she released albums: Circus, Femme Fatale, Britney Jean, Glory, headlined a multi-year Las Vegas residency, and even won a Grammy. On stage, she dazzled fans, but insiders say her heart wasn't in it. Britney later revealed that performing felt almost a joke during the conservatorship. Her eyes would light up on stage, but off-stage she was broken. The restrictions went deeper. Britney was forced to take medications, even lithium against her will. She was not allowed to drive. She had to get permission to use social media. In court filings, she later revealed something perhaps most chilling. She was required to have an intrauterine device, IUD, preventing pregnancy, and was denied the right to remove it, effectively blocking any chance of having another child. At one point, she was whisked from her home and put into a 3-month rehab program for refusing a dance move she deemed unsafe, where her pleas were ignored. In that dark time, Britney wrote that she became a shell of herself. Even fans began to smell something foul. By 2016, 2 comedy podcasters launched Britney's Gram to humorously dissect her Instagram posts. That podcast unexpectedly spawned a movement. Fans started sharing Free Britney on Twitter, convinced that the conservatorship was abusive. Soon, Framing Britney Spears, a New York Times documentary, and Netflix's Britney vs. Spears pushed Britney's plight into the mainstream. But Britney herself was still silenced, until she finally spoke. Among the millions who cared, one sting remained raw: the sense that Britney's own family had failed her. Her mother Lynn and brother Brian kept a low profile during the conservatorship. When Britney finally ended it in late 2021, she was hopeful her relatives might be her allies. Instead, she said she felt betrayed by my father, and sadly by the rest of my family too. It hurt her deeply that her sister, Jamie Lynn, had rushed to publish a memoir about Britney's conservatorship at the same time Britney was still fighting for freedom. In her book, The Woman in Me, Britney accused Jamie Lynn of capitalizing on the conservatorship, spreading salacious and hurtful stories about her. She even charged that Jamie Lynn and their father had developed a closer bond during Britney's darkest days. So much so that Britney confessed she once feared they were going to try to kill me while she was in a treatment facility. Allies felt betrayed too. A former confidant, Sam Lutfi, was labeled a Svengali. A business manager, Lou Taylor, was accused in court documents of pushing the conservatorship. Britney wrote that she felt surrounded by males who controlled her, a regimen she never believed any man would have imposed on a male star. Yet despite it all, Britney still managed to perform and work, smiling on camera even as she was bowed by the weight of betrayal. By mid-2021, the cracks could no longer hold. In June 2021, Britney did the unthinkable. She addressed the court herself. Behind closed doors on a July afternoon, the pop icon took off her headset, looked the judge in the eye, and unloaded. She called the conservatorship abusive and fought back tears as she confessed, "I'm not happy. I'm so angry it's insane, and I'm depressed. I cry every day." In those moments, the world heard what her fans had been feeling. Britney was suffering. She accused her father of enjoying the control he had over her. Her voice, trembling yet fierce, painted the legal arrangement as something toxic and unbearable. Less than 3 months later, on September 29, 2021, a judge agreed. The court declared Britney's situation not tenable, called it a toxic environment, and immediately suspended her father as conservator. The conservatorship that had governed every aspect of Britney's life for 13 years was unraveling. Finally, on November the 12th, 2021, it was terminated. Britney regained all her rights: the right to marry, travel, and manage her own money. Overnight, Britney was legally free. The reaction was seismic. Outside the courthouse, cheering crowds erupted in celebration. Online, #free. Britney trended worldwide. One can only imagine Britney in that moment. Equal parts relief, confusion, fear, and joy. As her lawyer put it, she had finally won her freedom without ever having to testify further. Britney's public life did not simply revert to fairy tale. In fact, 2022 brought even more ups and downs. In June 2022, she married her boyfriend of 6 years, Sam Asghari, but in a painful twist, he filed for divorce just 15 months later. Britney herself broke her silence on Instagram. She said she was shocked and couldn't take the pain anymore, explaining that her seemingly perfect life had been hiding a deep well of hurt. In happier news, Britney had announced earlier that year that she was expecting her 3rd child, only to reveal weeks later that the pregnancy ended in miscarriage. It was a crushing blow that echoed the sorrow she once admitted keeping hidden. And yet, through it all, Britney started speaking her truth more openly. She temporarily withdrew from making music. "Fuck you," she wrote. "Not doing music anymore is my way of saying fuck you to those who had hurt her." Then, in October 2023, Britney penned a manifesto of sorts. Her autobiography, The Woman in Me. In it, she relived every high and low, from glittering stardom to nightmare conservatorship. She alleged how her family had profited from her, revealed long-hidden traumas, yes, even an abortion as a teenager, and demanded accountability. At one point, she described her own life as a Southern Gothic feminist horror story. Britney's story is far from over. Today, she is 43 years old and rebuilding life on her terms. She has reconciled with her mother, Lynn, celebrated birthdays freely, and shown a new side of herself on social media, vulnerable yet empowered. She has even ventured back into music with duets like Hold Me Closer with Elton John. But most of all, she stands as a symbol of survival. The tragic arc of Britney's life stirs every emotion. We feel empathy for the little girl who was shuttled into fame and never let her own voice be heard. We feel outrage at the invasive media and flawed system that treated a woman like property. We feel inspiration at her courage, how she endured unimaginable control and still fought back. And we feel curiosity about what really went on behind the scenes. Britney's journey is a cautionary tale about fame and power. As Encyclopedia Britannica noted, her story epitomized the public's fascination with celebrities, catered to by paparazzi and fueled by gossip and scandal. But it's also a reminder that behind every headline is a human being. The pop icon who seemed to have it all turned out to be one of the most controlled, one of the most vulnerable. In the end, she reclaimed her narrative. The strong girl from Kentwood fought for freedom and still stands. Her story does not end neatly. There are scars, but also hope. Britney's tale reminds us why privacy and mental health matter, why power must have limits. It reminds us that even in our darkest moments, change is possible. Britney's fight and her survival will remain a powerful lesson and, hopefully, a catalyst for empathy and justice. Thank you for watching this deep dive into the life of Britney Spears. If you were moved or surprised by her journey, please like, subscribe, and leave a comment sharing your thoughts below. We will continue bringing you honest, in-depth stories behind the headlines. Until next time, stay curious and kind to each other.